أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. So in this series of key concepts in Qur'an, this is our ninth topic. And inshallah, today we will study something that's interesting as usual, I guess, but a little bit sometimes controversial, which is Quran talks about the word, the key concept, the word is Balaa. Balaa in the sense of test. So anybody in here that likes taking tests? Like, I am fond of taking tests. It's the thing that I love the most. Like, generally, it's like not so much fun to have tests because somebody is judging you and it's just high stress, or even sometimes, how dare you judge me, we tend to say. Because a test is simply somebody is trying to judge you. So this is why it have a bad taste in our mouth when somebody mentions test. Quran mentions test quite a bit. So let's try to figure out what that test is about. So the first verse or set of verses that we will study is from Surah Al-Baqarah, which is the second chapter of Quran, verse number 155 up to 157. And you can also follow if you can log into Zoom. I am screen sharing on the Zoom. Baqarah, second chapter, verse number 155. So the verse goes as follows: وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. We shall certainly test you by afflicting you with fear, hunger, loss of properties, and lives and fruits. Give glad tidings then to those who remain patient. الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. They are those who say, when afflicted with calamity, to God we belong, and to Him is our return. أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. They are those on whom blessings from God and mercy descend, and they are the ones that receive guidance. So, when you read such a verse, how do you feel about it? When it says, we shall certainly test you. Like the idea with a test, how does it, and it talks about testing with afflicting you with fear, hunger, loss of properties and lives and fruits. And then says, give glad tidings to those who remains patient. Is that okay? Or how do you feel about it?
Scary.
Scary? And we can put the microphone there. It's a bit scary.
No, I was just gonna say it's scary because like you don't want to be like these things matter a lot. It's not just like a test of, oh, like my coding skills or something. If I don't pass, like it's okay. These are fear, hunger, loss of properties, lives. Like it's really a lot on the line. So it's scary for that to be tested for me.
And scared to be tested with things that matter.
Yeah.
Things that are so close, like hunger. Hunger is a significant thing, isn't it? This is why I guess we are striving for the degree, the job. Like job security is a big thing, right? So we don't want to lose food. At least I would like to have my stomach guaranteed. Fear. How about fear? Being tested with fear. When we say fear, what sort of things come to your mind? Let's try to open up the verse a little bit. Being tested with fear. Or to
I think fear is just whatever you like. For someone, it's hunger. Maybe for other, it's something else, right? Like whatever's most closest to me, and whatever maybe I'm most afraid of losing or not having. I think that can create fear. Or whatever trait that I want to aspire to that maybe I can't reach, something like that. But definitely just something that is really close to you that you seem to at least be passionate or identify with, or you don't want to lose.
And fears are coming from future generally, right? Like we are fearful of what is yet to come, because whatever is in the past, it's done. There's nothing to worry about with the past, but there's a future before you, and you're worried about it. You have a lot of unknowns and a lot of expectations at the same time. So I have expectations and then I have fears. What if it's not going to get satisfied? So, okay. Apparently this is a test. Test of what though? Like, what's the point of with these tests? And then property, the life, and fruits. Yes, I don't know, if you have a few dollars in the bank, you're worried about it. If it's going, like even if it stays there, it's just losing its value. So you're worried about it. So many worries there, so many things, but these are all being things about test. And the verse starts by saying, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, we shall certainly test you, as if it is saying, whatever is in your hand, I will definitely test you with it. I didn't give it to you for just so that, oh, go and chill. It is there for a reason, and I will come after you. Like, you guys now have cookies there. You think that we are not going to test you with those cookies? Would you be able to enjoy those cookies if I say so? Like those cookies that you have? Definitely we'll ask about it before you leave the house. How much can you enjoy the cookies if I tell you as such? Because the way you entered the house, you said, oh, we were craving for it, so that's why we brought it. Would you be able to enjoy it now? وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, and give glad tidings to those who are patient. Like, what sort of patience then? Like, is this patience type of, you have this abusive host, and he's going to serve you the cookies and whatnot, but then saying, you think I'm not going to ask about it? I will. What sort of patience is this? Is it that, okay, whatever, I mean, you're just grinding your teeth and saying that, okay, I am the guest here, therefore I will behave. But yeah, I mean, 30 minutes later, discussion finishes and we go. I'll be patient for the next 30 minutes. But then, because, I mean, thankfully, there's an end to this test dash torture. Or is it? Like, what is test? So let's try to identify this, because it has a bad connotation. Is this what it is? We are trying to identify this. Any ideas? I mean, I know, especially if you are coming from a Muslim background, we are not supposed to say anything bad about God. God is merciful. And then there must be something good. That's what we are trying to find. What is good in here? What is good with this test? Because we tend not to see tests as good. Any ideas? Yes. And you need to press on the power button once.
Oh yeah. I feel like when I think about patience, it comes about like accepting that God knows better than us, and in everything that we think is bad that's happening to us, there's something good behind it. And also this made me think of the Prophet Moses and Al-Khadr, when, for example, the child of like these two parents who were really good and they were like worshiping God, like he was killed, and then everybody was so sad, but then he was not even like good to his parents. He wasn't doing good stuff. So everybody thought like, no, that's a bad thing. But the parents were patient and they were satisfied, and God gave them another child. So patience is just like kind of accepting what God gives you. Yeah.
Okay. Patience. So if you were taking Sister Zarina has a comment, no? So if you take a class, let's think about courses that we take. It's at Penn, like 14 weeks is a term. So you have 14, 15 weeks of a term. And you are taking a course which is going to build a lot of things in you. But it takes 15 weeks. For you to start seeing the big picture, it's going to take 15 weeks. Professor comes to the lecture, gives you the first lecture. Okay, like, especially after the first lecture, you have more questions than answers. You thought you know more. After the first lecture, you realize how little you know. Let's assume the topic is about neuroscience. I mean, you know, from your Instagram posts and whatnot, there's this thingy, what was it, serotonin or something? You know, if I get happy, serotonin is, you know, during the parties and chit chats, people talk a lot of neuroscience terminology in there, that which they learned from Instagram. So you think like you know some sort of neuroscience, but then you take introduction to neuroscience class. After the first class, teacher bombards you with even more questions than answers. Then you realize that, well, I know nothing, man. Like, you're super puzzled after the first lecture, first 2-3 lectures. And then after 2 weeks, an assignment comes because you are now loaded with information, but did you really learn about it? So, because without being asked a question, you never know whether you understood or not. You can test for it for yourself. For the past couple of weeks, I was watching with a PhD student some linear algebra course. I took linear algebra multiple times in the past, but it got rusty so much, I said, let's start from scratch. And I am watching a lecture from a MIT professor, and he is explaining it so nice. It's like poetry. Like, he's really at his 70s or something. He taught the class so many times. He explains it so well. I watched it 6-7 lectures. Then last week we started solving problems from the textbook. We put the first problem, how does this apply to there? We are totally puzzled. When I was listening to the lecture, it was making perfect sense. But when it comes to a question, I realized that no, I didn't understand it actually that much. Questions are with which I start finding answers. Without questions, you just listen. If it lines up, you feel good, but you didn't learn. Questions makes you realize which parts you didn't learn, so that the real learning starts with those questioning, actually. Without questions, we don't learn much. So at week 3, week 2, professor keeps giving those assignments, and you start seeing somewhat of a, like, pieces start coming together if you do assignments properly. And in those assignments, you will fail sometimes, like you will get 70, 80. But you can say, well, I mean, this course doesn't make any sense anyways. You can drop out. Or you can say, no, at least I am able to get 80. And it gives me some idea. I am better than the moment I started. Yes, now I have more questions than answers. When I was oblivious to neuroscience, I thought I was knowing something. Now I'm realizing that I know almost nothing, but this is better than my oblivion at the beginning. Still, I need to be patient in the sense that this is going to be a 15-week term, and the curriculum is set up so that the teacher is going to walk me through the topics in a way that they're going to make sense. By the time we come to week 15, once everything is packed together, then I'm going to start seeing the big picture. But how can I trust that it will if the first 2 weeks starts coming together and I see that the teacher is comfortably teaching it? Like, for example, I just watched the first 6 lectures of this linear algebra course from MIT. But the way the guy teaches it, you say that, I mean, this guy really knows. Even the examples he gives, he just hits the nail each and every time. So I have full confidence. There are, I guess, 29 more lectures, but I feel confident in his hands. So the way he keeps putting things, I say this guy is good. If I apply to my life now, in this life, there are things that get revealed in 15 weeks. Some of the things get revealed to you in 15 years. Some of them will get revealed to you in 60, 70 years. Like at the end of your life, you will realize, oh, this was the reason I lived this life for. Or sometimes you have a roommate, such a troublemaker, or somebody enters your life, husband or wife or a candidate or whatever. All these human interactions are so messy, right? Then you say, why is this happening? Or your relationships with parents and whatnot. You don't see the answer immediately, but this is the point, right? Like, you do not see the message immediately in the first lecture of neuroscience class either. You get something out of it, sufficient enough for you to keep going if you are patient and if you are trusting in the wisdom of the teacher, to the extent that teacher's wisdom is revealed to you, right? Oh, he's so confidently teaching, for example. This is a way that you know that teacher is wise. So in this life, then we need to ask the question, do you think Creator is wise? Are you confident in the wisdom of the one who is making you here? As much as I'm confident about this MIT professor's linear algebra knowledge, it's by experience. Like, I'm not saying that since he's an MIT professor, he must be good. There's one way to go, right? But probably there are certain MIT professors which are there because they are good in acquiring money. Like, they get a lot of research funding, but when it comes to teaching, they suck. This is quite possible, right? So if I say that as long as he's an MIT professor, he must be a good teacher, doesn't always apply. Like, this top-down approach doesn't always apply. And this is why sometimes you would say, oh, you go to those websites, ratemyprofessor.com, and you say, well, there are 3 professors offering, which one shall I take with? Well, all of them are at MIT, just go with one of them. You say, no, some of them are better than the others. So let me see what others have said, right? When it comes to your Creator, I mean, of course, he's God, he must be all wise. This is a top-down approach. Based on your experience with your Creator, do you think he is wise? I mean, you don't have to maybe at this point conclude that whatever he gives, it's 100% good. Maybe you're not there yet because you haven't seen the big picture yet, right? Still, there are question marks. You don't still know how the 35th lecture is going to end. But based on 6, 7 lectures that you have attended so far, and I guess everybody in this room is below 30, most of the people, not us. So, like, you had some decent amount of experience with the teacher, the Creator. So is your experience so far giving you confidence to be patient? That whatever I have covered so far is good. I'm learning something, and I would like to keep going. if this conviction is not there, even if your friend comes and says, no, this professor is the best of all and whatnot, probably will help you momentarily to clean up your doubts and not withdraw from the class. But then the first assignment comes and still you're not able to solve the problem. What would you say? Whatever, just click the button to withdraw the class, right? Unless I have this personal conviction, I'm going to have a tendency to withdraw from the class. I'm not going to be patient. So this patience should come from some sort of a personal conviction. Does this make sense? What do you think? Do you have this personal conviction, folks? Yes. And if you don't have it, how can we get it? Right before you start spoiling us. Go ahead.
I guess this made me think of a story. Actually, before coming to Penn, I actually didn't know like much about Philadelphia at all. But in my undergrad, I was thinking like, even my friend who's not like she's not Muslim, but she knows very well. I was like, I really, really was hoping to be closer to like a Muslim community. But I didn't apply with like the intention of all the schools I applied to be honest. I wasn't looking at like, oh, Muslim population. So I knew nothing about Philly. But I remember I was really struggling because it's a small town and there's very little Muslim. And over time, I was hating that more and more. And that specific time, like she knew how much I kept struggling over time. And I said, like, Ya Allah, like, I don't really know what's meant for me, but I truly, truly hope it's just somewhere among where there are Muslims. Again, nothing about Philly. I arrive and I'm like, why is there so many Muslims here? So subhanAllah, like in that, and then my friend is the one who actually reminded me, didn't you like pray for this thing? And I was like, oh my goodness, that's so true. Because I didn't even remember it. I didn't remember how desperate I was for the reality I live currently. And she reminded me, she was like, this is what you prayed for. So I think sometimes like you yourself don't even remember it. And this is a story that like to her is the most impressive. Like she's always like, you make me like, I see that and I'm like, I see God's work like in you. Like I observe what happened in your life and that's how I feel like God has to exist. And I think like to me, sometimes it's just that maybe it doesn't click for you, but it clicked for somebody else. And then you reflect on your own life and you're like, wow, how did I get here? Because it is true. At one point, that was my biggest supplication. But I also will say, even in the supplication, there's great fear. Because like if you get conviction as you try to understand the first 5 chapters finally make sense, but it doesn't mean that you're not nervous. I absolutely get nervous each time because I'm just like, am I messing up? Like, what is going wrong? Because I do think it's very nerve-wracking to not understand something. And it's very human nature to think like it's for the worst. At least for me. Maybe everybody's like, wow, mashallah. But for me, I'm always like, oh, I'm going off the rail. Something is happening. But I think the longer I sit with it, I sit with that discomfort of like, I really don't like this. But the more I also tend to remember a lot. Like the first time I wasn't as good, but as it happens, I catch myself maybe a little bit faster. And my return to like, truly there has to be something good in it. It's a little bit better. But I do think it's not like my first thought. My second thought is like, after I freak out, then I'm like, oh, no, it has to be for something. So I do think it takes time.
Also over time. So like, for example, when you're a new PhD student and your teacher sees you for the first time and whatnot, I guess this applies to any friendship also, but you're afraid to make mistakes because you don't want to appear stupid, right? And like, you don't know the answer, but you're even afraid of asking the question. Or you're sometimes afraid of, oh, a new topic is starting again. Look, any new territory is nerve-wracking because I'm afraid of certain things, which is leaving a bad impression or something. Like self-image is going to be erased. A real fear, a legitimate fear, right? But as you become friends with your advisor, if you're that secure, it doesn't always happen. But if it happens, then you say, this is how much I am. This is how much I know, my teacher. I'm not claiming to be the most knowledgeable person. If I was, I wouldn't be here, right? I wouldn't be your student if I already knew it, right? So, and you're the teacher. I am 100% confident in your knowledge. If I don't understand, I will raise my hand. Repeat it, please. I didn't understand. As much as I start getting into this mood, what happens? A new question comes. It starts becoming a joy for me because, I mean, just check your human nature, learning something new, seeing a new horizon. The creator puts some sort of a joy in there automatically. Like, this is how it is. Getting to know something new, understanding something, a new light bulb, you get excited, right? So knowledge itself is having this joy in there, or getting to know something more is joy in there. It's automatic. I mean, automatic in the sense that the creator put it there already, right? But then I would say, yes, it's a new challenge, something tough, but I enjoy this hardship now because I'm going to get to know more. So this nerve-breaking part starts to get erased. I am having this nerve-breaking part because I am feeling like there is me and the teacher, and I think the teacher has an impression of me, and I don't want this to get diminished. But if I say, teacher knows how much I know anyways, and we have this teacher-student relationship so that I learn. I mean, of course, I'm not going to know something. I should just admit that I don't know and sit before the teacher and ask from the teacher, right? As much as I get into discomfort, then the tests and exams are going to be fine. That's what I say to students. I say that if things are going wrong, it might be that you're just messing up too bad with the assignments. It might even be that you're having some mental health issues or whatever and missing the deadlines. Reach out to me sooner rather than later, because I would like to help you with this. Don't think that, the teacher is going to just think bad about me. Even some students, they cheat. After cheating, they come and say, oh, teacher, I am sorry, I failed you. I say, no, just be sorry for yourself. Forget about my impression of you. I know student psychology. I have been a student, so I know what you're going through. Just try to fix yourself. Don't try to fix your image in my eyes. Just try to fix yourself. Like, as long as you do this would be the gain. Otherwise, if you're trying to just put a mask on yourself, which is, a student of self-integrity, do you think that I thought you were having the self-integrity? I don't assume that. Today, I count 20% of my students from cheating. These are 100% cheaters. I know that probably remaining 40% is also cheating, but these are 100% cheaters. By default, I assume that they are cheating anyways. So what are you trying to save yourself from, right? So the thing is, just get to yourself, what is your duty here? You're a student, you're supposed to learn. This is why you're in this life. If now we reframe it, because in our discussions, we keep using this term a lot, but now that we have two new person, the purpose of human life is to learn. But to learn what? Your moms are merciful, right? You know your parents as caring, loving people. This type of knowledge. Like, it's not only something intellectual. You experience love and care of your parents. This is how you get to know them. How do you know your creator? Is your creator some absurd, torturous being? Or is your creator all merciful, all wise, caring Lord? What is it? The purpose of life is to get this knowledge, this acquaintance, if you like. Test is just for that. Because if I look at the, trees and beautiful kittens and whatnot, I say, oh, yes, my creator is a sustainer. Then the creator says, okay, I'm going to test you with hunger. But looking at the kittens, you said like kittens were sucking their mom so nice, and you said, oh, how beautiful, merciful creator, sustainer is feeding us, right? Creator says, okay, hunger. Hunger comes to you. Are you sure I am your sustainer? Who is the sustainer? Like with these, I am starting to question. The creator is not saying that know me when I am giving the kittens with milk, but with hunger, I'm going to really make you understand that I am a sustainer, provider, merciful. You see all those a new baby is being born, very nice. Babies are also being killed in war zones. Who creates this death? The merciful. Do you see the mercy of your creator even in there? Following verse takes us to there. الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. There are those who say, when afflicted with calamity, to God we belong, and to him is our return. What does this mean? This is a very intense verse, actually. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. What does this practically mean? What does it mean that we return to God? We belong to God, we return to him. What does this mean? And how is this solving the problem? This really solves the problem, but how does it solve it? Any idea? Like in the previous example, it was not a perfect example with the PhD student and the advisor. But if the student realizes that, well, it's not a good example, but at least reaching the comfort level that teacher already knows me, already knows how lacking of a knowledge I have, then you will comfortably be sitting before your teacher and asking from your teacher. In this life, am I coming from him? Like, again, this is maybe in the literal sense of the word, it's a little bit, it might have issues there. Let's think about it. You have strength, you have youth, you have life in you, you have ideas, whatever you have. Like if I were to, those icebreakers in the parties, they ask, define yourself in 5 words and whatnot. Those 5 things that you think you have, where do they come from? Are they genetically inherited? Nature? Or are they nurture? Oh, I acquired them over time. This is what our scientific knowledge is all about, right? We say either it's nature or nurture or both. The environment in which I was brought up, this is why I'm a tough person, or this is why I'm a so merciful person. In the house that I grew up, I had 5 siblings, and I was the motherly figure at home. That's why I'm so merciful.
I have a question. Maybe because I'm
Microphone.
Maybe I'm having a hard time linking the two, but the initial question of like there is some sort of test, life is a test, you get provided some sort of test, and is the idea that in that struggle, you say we belong to God and to him we shall return. Is that with the idea that really diminishes the magnitude of whatever you think you're feeling? Like, is it supposed to help you have less fear, be okay with hunger, because you are like, well, ultimately I'm gonna die anyway, so it doesn't matter? Like, are you saying that lessens the magnitude because I feel like for me, it heightens it because then I'm like, oh, I really need to figure out how I'm answering this question, because if truly life is just that, then I must be doing, like, I really need to pay attention to, I guess, how I'm living my life. I think I'm missing the connection there.
Yeah. So apparently the answer for all these tests are this sentence. Like the conclusion should be, if I am afflicted with hunger or loss of life, or I don't know, loss of properties, fruits and whatnot. Fruit simply means expectations, right? The answer should be, oh, indeed, I am from him and I returned him. This should be the answer. Like, this is the correct answer that I'm supposed to get out of these tests, quote unquote, right? Which means this is the part that I am missing. I miss that. I am coming from him, because either I think I come from nature or I think I come by nurture, like things just emerge. And this is what my creator wants me to correct, saying that this is the part that you are doing wrong. What you're supposed to do properly is, you just don't happen to be. Like, this house just doesn't happen to be tidy. Somebody is maintaining it, right? Because otherwise you will just enter. If this was a house, abandoned house, what would happen here? Like, windows would be broken. There's just going to be a lot of dust if you just put your, like, if it is in a certain shape, you said that definitely somebody's taking care of this, right? You are being maintained as you are. What maintains this? Nature, nurture, what? Oh, whatever is maintaining me is neither my genes, my genealogy, my parents, nor it is my endeavors. So whatever is really taking care of everything is taking care of me. Like the way you got admission into Penn would say that whomever put me in here must be the one who heard me in those very secret cries of mine, and also who established the entire community in here. And if you think about it, not even two mosques are friends of each other in here that much. Like, the one who is maintaining, if you like, the Muslim environment in Philadelphia is none of the individuals in here. It's above and beyond any one of us here. So you say, oh, the one who is maintaining everything in here heard my voice in wherever you were in America, in the middle of nowhere, who heard me, pull me from there, put me in here. I am from him. My admission is not because I have collected the best grades or my SOP was the best. No. I got admission to here because it's from him. And then I return to him, meaning I don't acquire things for myself either. Like, it might be that, okay, yeah, God created me, but now I will build up and become more. In my example with before, this is why actually I was nervous with my advisor, right? I thought, advisor is there, I am here, and I feel like advisor doesn't know certain things about me, like how illiterate I am. So I am trying to wear a mask, which causes me all these trouble, the burden. The moment I'm comfortable with, advisor knows it all. Actually, this is the whole point. If I say, no, I'm not becoming something. Everything that I acquire in my life belongs to him also. Return everything back to him. That is the conclusion. Once this is done, أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة. Once this happens, once I achieve this, then there are those on whom blessings from God descends. That understanding is the blessing itself, because this is what removes all the worries. Then I say, well, do I eat the best of the food? Do I eat the worst of the food? Like, he provides us with something anyways. Like, we don't die, because the dry bread is enough for us to survive. And Dry bread is being provided one way or another. So no worry about food then. The point is, if I achieve this understanding, that's what matters. Sometimes, like in certain education systems, they say, oh, PhD, it has to take 8 years or 7 years. Before this, you cannot leave, right? But if it's a proper education, what would happen? The teacher will look at the student and say that, okay, the student got the point that we would like that student to obtain from PhD, 3 years, graduate him or her. Because the student is now able to solve that problem, able to publish by themselves. Why keep the student for 7, 8 years? 3 years enough, you can graduate, right? If you get the point, they graduate you in life. If you get the point in this life, the creator would say, okay, you got the point, graduate. That you can die. That is there. Because this is the point. Getting the answer is the point. It's not about eating the best food, living in the best house or the worst house. This is not the point. The point is, am I able to realize that everything that I say is me or mine is coming from the owner of everything? This is how I perfectly function in this universe. And then I return it back to him saying that, yes, it's all from you. There is no part that I hide from you. You already know everything. You already have everything. Take it back. We talked about this take it back in a few weeks ago when we were talking about trading with the creator. We talked about it here, right? In this session as well. Making a trade with God. No? We did, right? Was it at, we did it at Drexel? Did we do it here as well? Okay. Yeah. So there was this verse that we studied. Indeed, God purchases from believers their property and their themselves in exchange for paradise. It boils down to the same thing, right? Returning things to Creator. But as I'm returning it to him, he says, let me buy it from you. I mean, it's already yours. Okay, I'm going to buy it from you. This is like children. You want to teach something to your children. You first give them, let's say, $5. But you said you have to spend it responsibly. Like, I give it to you, but you have to spend it for this and that, right? One of the child goes and buys sugar and whatnot. Then you say, no, that was wrong. And you punish the child because, I mean, punish meaning either you don't give it again or you give it 2.5 next time because you want to give a lesson to the child. The other child goes and buys, let's say, with the $5, saves the $4, and this $1 uses it for properly just feeding the body, and then comes back and says, take this $4 back. It was yours anyway. I said, okay, this kid got the point. And I said, okay, I will take your $4, but in return, I'm going to give you a piece of gold. Something like this, right? This is how the creator is suggesting. Sell me the property that I gave you, sell it back to me, and I'm going to give you paradise back. What is paradise? It is here. عَلَيْهِمْ صَلَوَاتٌ مِّن رَبِّهِمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ. Upon them is the blessings and mercy of their creator. Wouldn't you like to live in bliss and mercy? At Penn, do you guys feel mercy? When I was at Penn, I didn't feel it. I was feeling under super stress. Like my PI back then explicitly said it. She said, for postdocs, says, you need to lit a fire under them. And then if they don't work, you'll just lit it up. And as they start burning a little bit, they start becoming more productive. Like she was just as if the cat and mice, how they play with each other. And I truly felt it. And she was also going through it too. Like the establishment was squeezing that person so much that it's just propagating down to you as well. Because to survive in that environment, it's well, publish or perish, survival of the fittest. This is the environment, all the way from top to bottom, right? I didn't feel mercy there. I was just feeling stress. Everybody wants to feel bliss. Everybody wants to feel mercy. Somebody watching after me, watching my back, supporting me. So paradise then is being given in return immediately when I am here. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ, and they are the ones that receive guidance, because this is the guidance. What is guidance? This is the guidance. Like in a nutshell, if you were to summarize the message of Quran, this could be a good summary actually. These 3 verses could be a very beautiful summary of the message of Quran in terms of what is your purpose of life. Why am I here? Why am I going through hardship? Why is my neighbor living in a luxury house, but I don't? All those questions. Why are the kids in Gaza being killed? Such questions. It's a very beautiful summary. Where do you come from? Where do you go to? What's your role in this life? As much as the moment I start getting the answer, then the bliss starts happening in there. And I think this is how a believer can really stand before so many hardships. Like people in Gaza, for example, they are going, like this literally, the verse applies to them 100%, right? Fear, hunger, loss of property, no property is left, lives and fruits, no future, no hope for tomorrow, if you think about it. But this makes you realize, oh, this is where we were coming from. My creator, my sustainer is not my relatives overseas who were sending me money. Because somebody from overseas are now sending me bombs. Like my relatives' taxes are now becoming bombs. I have been coming from my Lord, and now I return it back to my Lord. This person, I mean, this is the only explanation such people can really bear this much of burden with so confidence. It's unbelievable, really, how people stand by that. And this is guidance. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُهْتَدُونَ. This is the guidance, really. Finding this answer, because you pretty much solved the riddle of life. Of course, still I am speaking from as if like a lecture. When I am tested with this, then I will see whether I understood it or not. So going back to the beginning of our discussion, when I'm tested with hunger, when I'm tested with loss of life and whatnot, am I going to be able to say that, oh, from him I came and to him I go? Like this is what people do say, like this verse, right? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. When you hear that somebody passed away, this is the verse that believers would recite. Indeed, from him we come and to him we return. So is it that easy to say? Not that easy to say, right? May Allah protect. Yes, any comments? Yes.
I guess I had sort of a question. Sometimes when I see these verses, it feels like I feel like I'm going through maybe this period of ease relative to others who are going through extreme hardship or even just a little more hardship than I am. And sometimes I feel like when am I going to get the chance to prove myself in this test? Maybe sometimes that feels like an attitude that arises. Like it feels like I shouldn't be wishing for these things, right? Like for fear, hunger, loss of wealth, and lives and fruit. But then sometimes I feel like, well, in this like period of ease that I might be experiencing right now, like what am I supposed to do? Like, do I if I say indeed we belong to Allah and indeed to him we will return, when disaster strikes, what should I do during periods of ease? Am I just waiting for the test to arrive, or is there some other test in like a time of what I perceive to be ease, maybe?
I mean, from one end, like practically speaking, the companions of Prophet were really worried, would really get worried if nothing wrong happens in their life, because they would say, this is not how it was supposed to happen. Is it like that I'm so bad in a shape that the creator says, this guy is not learning anything, so I will just give them a comfortable life so that they're going to get get deeper in their misguidance. What was the word? There's a word for this in Qur'an. I forgot it. It's used in the, I think it was used for Pharaoh or something. Anyways, I forgot the term. But they even mention a narration about this. One such companion of the messenger. So husband and wife, they talk to each other saying that our life is going so good. Nothing has been wrong so far. Like, what's wrong with us? And they discuss, and then the husband goes to Prophet to discuss the matter. But as he is walking there, he hits his foot to a stone and just trembles in the street. So he says, thanks to God, I was walking and something happened. So yes, I guess those calamities are such occasions. But in the other times, we can also look at other calamities that are happening out there to others, because you are concerned about their calamities as well. Like seeing through what others are going through is becoming your trouble, your problem too. So I think in this regard, we can, by looking at somebody else's, like, for example, as I'm driving, the traffic gets stuck. And as we are passing by, we see a car which is so badly damaged, right? So at this point, we use it as an opportunity to say, indeed, we come from him, we go back to him. Or somebody else dies, somebody else's relative dies. Still, we use the same verse. Because with being a human, you do share these feelings. You immediately get into that mood. You understand what's going on to a certain extent. And if not, wait till Ramadan. The Creator says, okay, now let's do it. So you are getting into this inflicted hunger by command. So the Creator is saying that now we are going to do this. Because in a sense, this also tells us something. To what extent, for example, I mean, this goes a little bit off the limits, might be a little disturbing, but to what extent am I allowed to live comfortably in this life? If my neighbor is hungry, am I allowed to enjoy a full meal? Like, is it permissible in the sense of halal? I'm going to eat quote unquote halal food. I'm going to buy it from halal truck, like halal in the sense of formalities. But is it halal to eat a food or sleep with a full stomach when my neighbor is struggling, right? So this is why within the practical application of the religion itself, there are those limits set there too. You cannot. So you cannot live comfortably above the average level of the society, practically speaking. So this is why those, if you like, even if you are not explicitly tested in certain aspects of life, the Creator would still say that don't go beyond the limits either. Live like the average people. Be concerned with the neighbor who is hungry. So their hunger becomes your hunger in this regard, as much as we are aware of it. And there was one more verse. Maybe we can come. I don't know if we will continue with this topic. I had a lot more verses. So let me read one more verse, and maybe then we can conclude it and start a new topic next week. Because if we study the same topic twice, half of next week's topic is being repetition, so it might become boring. This is from Surah Hud, chapter 11, verse number 5 to 7. ألا إنهم يثنون صدورهم ليستخفوا منه. Behold, they fold up their hearts that they may lie hid from him. Very interesting. ألا حين يستغشون ثيابهم يعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون إنه عليم بذات الصدور. Very interesting verse. They fold up their hearts that they may hide something from him or get hidden from him, from Creator. Or even when they cover themselves with their garments, he, like God, knows what they conceal and what they reveal. For he knows well the innermost secrets of the hearts. وما من دابة في الأرض إلا على الله رزقها ويعلم مستقرها ومستودعها كل في كتاب مبين. There is no moving creature on earth, but its sustenance depends on Allah. He knows the time and place of its definite abode and its temporary deposit. All is in a clear record. Now, this is the verse that I would like to focus on, verse number 7 now. وهو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في ستة أيام وكان عرشه على الماء. He it is who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and his throne was over the waters. ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. So that he might try you, which of you is best in conduct. ولئن قلت إنكم مبعوثون من بعد الموت ليقولن الذين كفروا إن هذا إلا سحر مبين. But if you were to say to them, you shall indeed be raised up after death, the unbelievers would be sure to say, this is nothing but obvious sorcery. That's also a very common question. Like in this verse, what does it say? The Creator is saying that we test you so that we see who is good, who is bad. Literally taking the verse, it doesn't make any sense. Literally taking it, like God is going to learn who is good, who is bad. That's why he is testing it. Even if you like the previous two verses, previous two verses are talking about no matter what you try to hide, we know you cannot hide anything from us. Everything is in a clear book, a clear record, the Creator is saying. And then on top of this, he says, we test you so that we get to know who is good, who is bad. It's not the Creator who is going to learn, quote unquote, who is good, who is bad. I am going to learn whether I am good or I am bad. I am going to learn whether I learned or not. This is the purpose of test. The test is for me. The test is not for the Creator. So that test is this educational tool with which I get to learn. Like there was a so-called scholar back in Turkey who takes this verse and says, see what God is saying. God is saying that he created us so that he learns. So God doesn't know everything and whatnot. So it's like such funny interpretations. This is why literalism is not a good idea in general. But I am going to learn. I don't know. So the Creator in here is saying that I'm going to show it to you. This is the point of this test. Yes, there are a lot to unpack here, but let's conclude here. Any comments, any questions? Okay, let's conclude then. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.